Hello there, subscribers. I'm Black Bright News on YouTube, as you know. And yes, this is another part of the narcissistic series and the Christian. And this one is, are Christians fools for tolerating narcissistic abuse? We all know God doesn't suffer fools gladly, don't we? So, yes, I thought I would tackle this one because sometimes we can chastise ourselves for getting ourselves involved in such a relationship, and then we kind of beat ourselves up. Beating ourselves up is not self love, it's not the right thing to do or the healthy thing to do. We all make mistakes, and the best thing to do is find out how you can resolve the situation. So we need to be solution focused in our decisions and our options. Somebody said that the only thing that separates us is our choices. And it's so true, because if we had chosen differently in every aspect of our life would be totally different. But we can't live in regret. We just have to go with the choices we've made. As they've often said, we make our bed, we lie in it. And you have to kind of think about, when you've made your bed and you lie in it, do you have to lie in it forever? No, we change the sheets every now and then. We get out of the bed and we get back in the bed, and lots of things happen once we get out of the bed that makes a difference to how we feel when we get back in the bed the next time. So yes, we make our bed, we lie in it, but we can choose whether or not we lie foot up, foot down, sideways, whichever way. So we can also change the mattress. So let's see what I've got here. I want to read from my notes so I don't miss anything. So, are you a fool for allowing yourself to be manipulated, enslaved, exploited, dominated, controlled, abused, a victim of gaslighting? The thing is, we also have to remember there are different types of narcissists. And I don't want to go into that in this video because it would take too long. But we know about the covert, we know about the extrovert, we know about the malignant, we know about, well, there's so many of them anyway. I'm not going to go into them now, but they all have different levels. And that is why your experience with your narcissist is going to be totally different to somebody else's experience. You don't know what type of narcissist you're dealing with. Some narcissists are easy to deal with. You know, they're compliant, they're not malevolent, and so you can't compare experiences. That's the one thing. You can't, when they make these generic videos and tell you how to deal with a narcissist, they're not telling you how to deal with a particular narcissist, and they're making it very generic. And so you could be responding in a way that's not appropriate to your circumstances. Um, so, when we're thinking about God doesn't suffer fools gladly, does that mean you're going to be chastised for your naivety or your gullibility? In Corinthians, it instructs us to expel the wicked man from among us. It says, bad company corrupts good character. It says we should not eat with the immoral or the greedy. And false apostles, like narcissists, can only harm you. So it's all there. It's there right in our faces to say what you should accept from what you shouldn't, and how to deal with that situation. Okay, we could argue that we cannot separate ourselves from them because they form part of our Christian ministry. Now we can say, okay, God told us to love, to be patient, to be kind, all that kind of stuff. And it's a part of who we are as Christians, to try and work through this, to try and manage this. But when it comes to harming you or affecting your well-being, that is when you have to say to yourself, am I a fool for putting up with this kind of behavior? Am I a fool for tolerating this person? So that's how you have to kind of give yourself some kind of guideline. So we could argue, oh no, I've already said that. So that is Matthew 9:10 to 13. You could argue that we can separate ourselves from them. Okay. Matthew 9:10 to 13 says, Jesus says, whoever says you fool shall be guilty enough to go into fiery hell. And some people are hesitant to use the word fool. And that's because of this statement. But in the Bible, a fool is one who has rebelled against God. That is one philosophy or one translation. If you look at it as from that perspective, that a fool is not somebody who's just stupid or somebody who you never know if they're making a joke or they're not making a joke and they're just going on fool. Well, that is a different interpretation from the one that they claim is the Bible as being one who has rebelled against God. Now, how do you rebel against God? You rebel against God by not obeying his commandments. You rebel against God by not putting him first. The first commandment was love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all their soul. And the second greatest commandment is you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And the second is love your neighbor as yourself. So are you rebelling against God? I.e., are you being a fool by not giving yourself self-love, by not loving yourself? God does not suffer fools gladly could mean that he has little patience for stupidity. But then there's also that interpretation that love is patient and love is kind. Now, when you're not suffering fools gladly, and if we have that interpretation that we should have little patience for stupidity, or God has little patience for stupidity, I don't think that is true. I don't think God would ever call us stupid. But I do believe that, when the red flags are there and when you accept harmful behavior, you could be considered a fool. And therefore, not viewed as you would like to be viewed. I'll put it that way. I don't want to judge anyone because we all make silly mistakes, don't we? We don't want to be called foolish just because we trusted someone and just because we got caught up in the moment. And in that moment, we thought we were making a conscious decision. And a lot of times it's deceptive. How do you know when someone's deceiving you? And sometimes if you get caught up in a relationship through deception, is that your fault? Does that mean you're stupid? Does that mean you're a fool? No, it doesn't. I mean, there are ways, they say, they call it professional curiosity. There are ways to find out whether somebody is who they say they are. But some people, they tell you the truth straight up, and that's what you find attractive. And that could be foolish, especially if what they're telling you doesn't meet with your needs. But what can you do? It's how you're feeling at that time and what you want to accept in that moment. So, the Bible is full of contradictions. So, what is our guide? We are not to tolerate that which is evil. That is your guide. If somebody is treating you not nice, that could be considered evil. Somebody is treating you badly, maliciously, calculating, deception. That's evil. If your narcissist is not being, if your narcissist is showing those traits, you're not supposed to tolerate it. You should not tolerate that which is evil. But like I said, not all narcissists are ill-intentioned. Some are so self-absorbed they don't even know that they're hurting you. All they care about is that their needs are being met. So blow you, but it's not done maliciously. You do have the covert ones that are malicious, but not all of them are. So you have to make that distinction when making your decisions. So the greatest commandment, I've already said that. Your guide for expelling your narcissist is loving yourself. Your guide for not attracting a narcissist is loving yourself. And when you love yourself, you don't need their endorsement. You don't need their acknowledgement. You don't need flattery. You don't need their charm. If it's a bonus, it's incidental if you get it, but you don't need it. So, your guide to loving yourself is to stop comparing yourself to others. Just because they're in a relationship or married or have a house doesn't mean you have to have one too. And a lot of people, they jump into relationships because they're comparing themselves to other people in the church or other people that they know or other Christians that they know or believers. They're getting married. Oh, I think I should get married. And you marry the wrong person. So, yeah, a prescription given to one person could kill another person. Doesn't mean that you have to have the same prescription. Your prescription for life, your prescription for what is good for you is not the same as somebody else's. Focus on the gifts and talents God gave you and not focus on the blessings of others. Just because a rose smells better than tomatoes doesn't mean it's going to make a better stew. I heard that in a video. I thought that was quite good. Accept your flaws and your mistakes. Appreciate who you are. Accept what you like and don't like and stand by it. Because sometimes you like something and then your narcissist will say, oh, you shouldn't like that because of A, B, C, D, and E. Or you shouldn't do that because, they have all their list of reasons why you shouldn't like something. Who are they? If you think about what they're saying and what they're saying sounds reasonable, you might want to adjust or you might want to adapt, but don't allow them to tell you what you should like or who you should speak to or who you should spend time with. That is not their job. When you love yourself, you don't need anyone telling you who and what you should do. You do things as a partnership, but you don't have to be following their lead and letting them tell you what to do. So, accept what you like and don't like and you stand up for it. So if you don't like something, don't let them tell you, oh yeah, you should like it. You don't like bananas and they're saying, oh yeah, you better eat bananas. No. Know what you like. Know who you are. Know what you stand for. And don't be manipulated because when they're offering you and telling you, oh, when you're saying you don't like something, and they're saying, oh, yes, you should like it because of A, B, C, D, and E. They're just trying to see how they can manipulate you. They're just trying to see how flexible you are and how malleable you are and how they can actually, okay, she listened to me on that, so maybe she's going to listen to me on that. And maybe eventually I get total control. It shouldn't be like that. So, you set your boundaries. What are you prepared to accept? What are you not? Expect to be respected. You don't go into a relationship to be disrespected, to be taken for granted, to be ignored. That's not why you entered that relationship or that marriage. These are what tell you whether or not You're being a fool to accept that kind of behavior. Do not accept unkind and harmful behavior. What kind of person accepts harmful behavior? What kind of person knows that they're being ill treated and still puts up with it? I know that some people are stuck in a situation, whether it's financial or because of the house situation, maybe because of a visa situation, maybe because of their beliefs or their morals. But when it starts harming you, you have to kind of stand your ground and say, we're going to have to do something about this. I'm married to you, but I'm not prepared to tolerate A, B, C, D, and E. And, if you're stuck in a house and you think, okay, I haven't got anywhere to go, then say, well, look, you might have to have that room and I have that room if we can't get along. But the thing is with narcissists, it's very difficult if you're living in the same house to get away from them. Because if they see it as rejection, they're going to go AWOL. Well, not AWOL. They're going to be very angry and hostile and obsessive and exude all these negative behaviors, and they're going to be a tyrant to live with. So you have to kind of think to yourself, what are you prepared to do? What are your options? Okay, experiencing a shameful, embarrassing, and painful past could make you feel unworthy of a good relationship. A lot of people end up in narcissistic relationships because of their past. And because, that narcissist knows what to say and what to do and how to get you on side. And because you're vulnerable and because you've had that shameful or embarrassing past, you just jump into it and think, oh, yeah, this is my knight in shining armor. So don't let your past dictate who you are. Like Queen Ifrika said, what's happened to you is not who you are. You may blame yourself for past failures, poor decisions, and your shortcomings, and become grateful for anyone who gives you attention, even if that attention is unhealthy. That's not what you want. You do not want unhealthy attention. You may develop the imposter syndrome, which tells you that you are not entitled to be treated well or have nice things in life. A lot of people are like that. They don't believe that they deserve somebody who's half decent. So they pick up the trollops, the leftovers, the ones that people don't want. And they don't question why that person's available. They just think, oh, he's been waiting for me all my life. So instead of a narcissist seeing you as vulnerable, she or he could see you as a fool, easily manipulated, easy to control. So not only do you feel like a fool for getting pulled in, but the narcissist could see you as a fool. And we don't want to be considered as fools. Nobody does. So it is about taking back that control over your life. Corinthians 11:19. For ye suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourselves wise. So do narcissists see Christians as fools who they suffer gladly? That's a question. Believing anyone they can draw into their net is a fool for allowing themselves to be manipulated and toyed with, and therefore deserve everything they get, the full extent of their harmful behavior. There are different types of narcissists, like I said, but not all are harmful to your health. Do not allow bad behavior to have free rein. Harmful behavior must not be tolerated. It must be challenged, confronted, and exposed. There's nothing worse. A narcissist would hate it if you expose them in public or expose them at all, to make anybody think that they ain't the greatest, the worst sin on earth. So it's not loving. It is not loving to allow yourself. Oh, yeah. It's not loving yourself to allow yourself to be sold down the river on the pretext of Christian values. Your desire to be loyal cannot trump the need to keep yourself safe and happy. The great fool is he in whom we cannot tell which is conscious or unconscious humour. That was Charles Dickens. With narcissists, you cannot tell, so be careful. They have, this unconscious behavior that comes out sometimes, and sometimes it's quite deliberate, quite conscious. Proverbs 26:4-14 states, "Don't answer the foolish arguments of fools, or you will become as foolish as they are." In other words, when they try to gaslight you or bait you to pull you into an argument, you don't get involved. You don't become a fool. Let them get on with it. When you are attacked, I know it's difficult, because when you are attacked, you're going to want to defend yourself. You're going to want to prove that you're right. That ego kicks in and you want to challenge it and all that. It's not worth it. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. So if they're trying to gaslight you or bait you or say, you've done something when you know you haven't, just say, "I didn't," and leave it at that. Don't get into the argument. Like it says, don't answer the foolish arguments of fools, or you will become as foolish as they are. I love that. Deliver your response calmly and respectfully and as gently as possible. So this isn't about being obnoxious and loud and angry, because with a narcissist you can't win. So you need to have control. You need to know exactly what you're doing. You need to know what your plans are. And at all times, you need to have that emotional intelligence, that part of you that doesn't get riled up. And once you start learning it, it's not hard to maintain, but it takes practice. So as a Christian, having a strong sense of self is vital. Let go of your need for approval, especially from the narcissist. Detach yourself from the narcissist's opinion, and don't try to please them at your expense. It's okay to please them, but not at your expense. And I hope you found that helpful. That's all for now. Bye-bye.